Hey guys, welcome. I am joined by Cassiy Johnson, friend of the channel and returning guest. What's up, Cassiy?
Hey Ryan, everything is going so good over here. So glad we can connect and say hello to your subscribers once again. So thanks for having me.
Yes, this is crazy because whenever it was that we last sat down together, didn't I have more subscribers than you? What changed? What happened?
Yeah, I think I passed you a little bit ago, so it's been a fun race. Yeah, I watched you for years before I even started my channel, so that feels absolutely surreal. I think the first time I even talked to you for an interview, I had like a panic attack in the beginning and feel like I made like a silly person out of myself because I was starstruck. So this feels really, really funny and silly where we are now. So I've just put a ton of work into my channel, and hopefully people have gotten a lot of value, and it's grown a bunch. So I could not be more grateful. It has been such a cool experience.
Yeah, congrats on all the growth and success with the channel. I mean, obviously, I'm a fan as well. So, and I'm taking notes. I'm like, what is Cassiy doing so well that's working? Because you're crushing me now. But I mean, it's well deserved.
Well, I think Etsy content might sell a little better than Amazon content. So you do great. You play all the fields and do what works for you. But I think the big thing with my channel I've always focused on is trying to make the videos that I wish I had when I started 4 years ago, because there really wasn't as much Etsy content. Now I feel like you can really build a business just from YouTube and have a lot of the answers that you needed right on YouTube for free. If you don't have the money to like pay for like Ryan's course or my course or someone else's, like there's so many good resources. But yeah, that's been kind of my main focus, is the stuff I wish I would have had.
That's a great point. And I do miss like when I first started and it was like a blank slate and I didn't have a lot of subscribers because I would just make any video I wanted. And, you know, as I'm learning or as I'm just progressing in my business. And yeah, like you said, something that I thought was super cool, I could make like a 5 or 10 minute video about it. And you never knew like how big it would get. Some of them got huge and some got like 200 views or whatever. But I miss those days. Now people look at you differently when you have a lot of subs.
That's funny. Yeah, it's a little bit different. People get a little risky in the comments because they don't think you're going to read them, but we read them. We see all your comments, guys, just so you know.
Yeah, speak for yourself. I try. I hit the little heart icon. I'm like, all right, I see it. But thank you for being here though. It is 2024 and somehow it's already May. Time is flying. My goal on this channel is to help people make passive income online. A lot of us are familiar with print on demand. We're doing print on demand. We know Amazon's got opportunities. We know Etsy's got opportunities. I know you're doing both, but do you mind just kind of touching briefly, I guess at a high level, of what your thoughts are like on what's working with regards to like Etsy POD? For instance, I'll just say I've struggled to sell t-shirts. I used to do it all day when I got my start on Etsy. T-shirts were easy. Now I'm finding them a lot harder to move, but I sell other product types. Like, do you have any insights into what's working in 2024?
Yeah, absolutely. So, over the progression of the last 4 years, shirts and sweatshirts have been my bread and butter. That's what I've sold more than any other product type. I've definitely tried other product types. So there's definitely money to be made everywhere. Last year, actually, my biggest focus was on Christmas ornaments in my new print on demand store, and that went amazing. So if you didn't get on the Christmas ornament train last year, I would definitely recommend getting on that this year, because it's a huge category, lots of money being made, and a little bit less customer service than clothing, which is actually really nice. So I'd say that's the one benefit you have, Ryan, to accidentally not doing well in the apparel category, because there is a little bit more customer service with people not liking the size or things like that. But over the last 4 years, there's been a lot of trends that have kind of come and gone. And I feel like with clothing, you really need to ride those trends. So like 4 years ago, it was like the rainbow style, that like I just put a rainbow with a cursive under it on every single item and it killed. And then those kind of died. And then the half leopard letter text with every other letter being a different color became popular. So I put that on hundreds of shirts and those killed it. And then the next trend came and it was the retro wavy letter fonts, and those killed it. And those are actually still going strong today. That one is going on over 2 years of a trend that's just consistently doing so well. So if you don't have retro wavy font designs in your stores, hint, hint, it's time to add those. And then this year, the really big trend is this fake social club style, And so it seems like with apparel, you kind of have to keep like reinventing your store and keep uploading. I think is really the key to like what's really popular right now, and kind of putting your own spin on that style has kind of been my strategy anyways.
No, I love that. And I'm definitely guilty of just wanting to do it my way and feeling like maybe I know what's best. I've publicly said I kind of optimize for Amazon and let it trickle down. And like, I definitely used to kind of get a pass on Etsy for that just due to the lack of competition, which may sound crazy because everything always feels so, so oversaturated. But as time has moved forward, obviously, and with the quality of content being put out by people like you on YouTube, it's like everybody's doing things to such a high degree right out of the gate. So it's
Yeah,
hard to get an edge.
absolutely. But I think, if you really make it your goal to be up to date and like well researched in Etsy, I spend probably 2 to 3 hours every single week just looking through Etsy at the best sellers. Like I'll start really big and look at like shirt, and then I'll go down some rabbit holes and like find something that's a bestseller that I've never seen before. And then I'll look at that niche really in depth and look at some sub niches of that, and really just kind of study like what's selling right now, like what niches are new. Like a couple years ago, pickleball stuff didn't even exist, and now it's a huge category. And so I think that really is kind of the key. It's like, sure, you can go upload like a bunch of motivational stuff or like mom stuff, and sometimes that'll do good. But if you really dedicate yourself to kind of trying to be on the cutting edge of like what niches are really hot right now, what design styles are like just starting to take off. Actually, one of my favorite hacks is if you follow a few of the really big like PNG stores that sell designs on Etsy and see what kind of designs they're making. They're really good at doing research of like what's popular and what's in demand to get an idea of like what color palettes are selling well or what kind of layouts, just the vibe. Obviously, you never want to copy anyone. You just want to kind of take elements of what's working and put it together in a new way for sure. But that's a really good way that I found some trends really early for designs.
Yeah, that's so smart. Like, I've definitely done that on like Creative Fabrica with some shops, or I mean, I don't know, they're not shops, but like, how you can hit the follow button and you get alerts when people publish new, and people that I feel like are in the know that are really doing the work for you. Yeah, I've done that too, but I love that idea on Etsy as well. And kudos to the people that like were thinking one level up, like me as a POD seller, I'm like, all right, I need to sell these shirts and whatever else, you know what I mean? Like I started expanding into sweatshirts and even hats. That's like a big product that I sell. But the people that were like, I'm going to sell to the sellers, kudos to them. And you're one of them, by the way, right?
Yeah, I do have a mock-up store on Etsy, Stop Mock and Roll. So I do have a digital download store, and that's been a really different experience. The cool thing about digital downloads is there's like almost zero customer service. So it feels definitely a lot more like passive income than print on demand does. I haven't done even like a fraction of what I've done in my print on demand business with my mock-up store, but I'm also an amateur photographer. And but I've seen newer mock-up stores. One in particular I can think of started like 6 months ago and has already sold like 10,000 mock-ups. So, if you're a really good photographer, I'd say that's a really great option. But I think just playing to your strengths. And I think that's the coolest part about building passive income businesses is we don't have to be pigeonholed into just one. I think over the last 4 years of like starting my own businesses, I'm addicted to starting them now. I have like my Etsy print on demand store. I started my Amazon merch store thanks to you and your channel. And then my mock-up store. Now I started my YouTube channel. Now I sell my own products. It just keeps growing and growing. So just know, like, if you're just trying to build your print on demand business right now, all the skills that you're learning from building that business are going to absolutely apply to the next thing that you try. And you're going to be able to start seeing results in the next thing you do like a million times faster. And so over the next couple of years, you'll probably do a couple different things. And I think that's really, really cool to have multiple streams of income and different projects you can work on, because sometimes we get burnt out and bored with what we're doing and need to take a little break from one project.
Yeah, that's great perspective. And I don't know about you, but like I talk to, we have our network, right? And like we talk to a lot of people, and even through like one-on-one calls I take with just people that are viewers every now and then, like I see that a lot. I don't know if it's like an entrepreneurial thing or maybe it's just like a normal person thing. Like you just maybe get bored, or you just see the opportunity, like the next door opens, one door leads to the next. I don't think it's uncommon at all for people to like start with Etsy print on demand and then go into a YouTube channel or whatever it is. You know, I've seen people that killed it on Amazon and for whatever reason just got tired of the hustle and you know, switched to something else. So that's great perspective.
Yeah, it's cool that there's like different options out there, you know, and I was telling Ryan before we started recording that, you know, I started my Amazon merch account a couple of years ago after watching Ryan's channel. And I just uploaded, I think it's like 463 designs of just random designs that I have on Etsy, and uploaded them using the automation tools that Ryan shows on his channel. So definitely check out his videos on that because they were so helpful. And spent a couple weeks uploading a bunch of designs. And then I literally haven't touched it in almost 2.5 years. And I sold 8 shirts on there today. And I've made like 11 grand profit, just like in the background without having to do anything, which is actual passive income, which is so nice. Like Etsy is absolutely not passive income. Like if you don't feed it, it dies. You kind of have to like keep up with it. I mean, you can take breaks, but you can't just like stop altogether. But Amazon's really interesting. And so I think every platform really has their benefits.
Yeah, Amazon merch is unique in the sense, I know Redbubble's a little bit like it too, where you don't have to keep a credit card on file and like they'll just, you know, they pay for everything. Basically, you just get paid the royalty. They handle returns, they handle customer service. So it is very like turnkey passive. There is a barrier of entry with the application, but I like to tell the quick story of like my mom's account. She like didn't even log in for like over a year. And I had uploaded some designs and she had this like golf shirt. It was so simple, so dumb. And I think it just said like I'd hit that or something like that, you know, with the golf club. And like December of 2022, we probably uploaded the design in 2018. December of 2022, for some reason, the algorithm just started pushing it out there. And it made her like $1,000. This one ugly design for some reason. She just like was like, what the heck? Why did I just get all this money deposited into my bank? So I had to go over there and see.
A cool surprise. Yeah, I think Amazon's just really, really interesting in that way. It's definitely so, so different. So that's a really, really fun story. You know, I even think about like my sister on Etsy, though. There is some element to that. She started with me in like August of 2020, and we spent like 3 months on the phone for hours every single night making Etsy listings. That was like what we did day in, day out. We were like masterminding and like building our stores. And she built up her store, and then in January she like moved. She had to start working much overtime at work and got really busy, and really didn't touch Etsy and upload anything for like a year and a half, and still made like 40 grand.
Damn. I love that.
From like that couple months worth of work that she did. So like, obviously that's not going to live forever, you know, but if you can do like a couple short sprints throughout the year, like right now I'm running my 31-day listing challenge in the month of May, if you're watching this when I release it. So I'm releasing a different niche every single day on my YouTube Shorts channel for you to make 5 designs for and list in your store and get 155 in demand right now designs in your store to try and kind of beat the summer slump that you're going to see in sales most of the time. And if you just do a couple of those a year, I think you could do really good. Like I think you could be consistent every day, or you could take a couple sprints throughout the year and really set up your shop for like the seasons at a time. And I think that could really help your store too.
Yeah, and I had somebody in my private community mention that just 2 days ago on Wednesday. So I was aware, and I will link to that in the top link in the description. So anybody that subscribes to me that isn't already following the 31-day challenge, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. It's just totally free. It's just some YouTube videos. There's not going to be much more to it. Oh, this is Jack. Hello, kitty.
Hey, Jack.
He likes to be in the videos. Hello, big boy. So yeah, if you like Jack, he's in some of my videos on YouTube as well.
Hey, benefit of working from home, right? You get to hang out with your pets all day.
Yeah, absolutely. The 3 golden retrievers can absolutely not be in the office while I'm working. It would be absolute chaos. But the kitty is polite enough. He can be in here.
Yeah, I never even know. Like I have like a little window and I have like a stool next to it. And sometimes I'll look under the stool and there'll just be like 2 dogs just chilling like underneath sleeping. And I'll have no clue they were there.
Oh,
But mine are much smaller.
yeah, just a little bit. I've like a 50 or 60 pound golden and 2 80-pound goldens. So it's just, yeah, they can't all 3 be in one little room like this. Nope.
Big dogs, right? 10 times bigger than mine.
Yeah, at least.
So I wanted to ask you, like Etsy, I thought it was really cool that they ran a Super Bowl commercial kind of positioning themselves as like the place to go for custom gifts. Like, what are your thoughts? Like, how have you have you changed your strategy at all with regards to like how Etsy is trying to position themselves in the minds of the masses?
Yeah, I've actually thought for years that, Etsy really is growing to be like the go-to platform for gifts. And I felt that way because that's what it was for me before I started selling. As soon as I saw a YouTube video that was like, you can sell gifts for people on Etsy, not have to make them, I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. I'm always buying people presents on Etsy. Like I'm so in, but it was kind of more niche. 4 years ago, I feel like it was mostly just women that knew about it. I feel like a lot more guys are shopping on the platform, and just overall the people shopping has grown so much. I think they spend millions a year on advertising now, especially that Super Bowl ad. I will say it was a kind of a weird commercial, but that's okay. It's cool to like get out there. Every time I'm at the gym, there's always an Etsy commercial every single time on the TV. So I think that's really cool. But I think their new push that they're doing is really interesting because when I was looking on eRank for my listing challenge, there's a couple different keywords that Jack, are absolutely just skyrocketing. Like the term birthday gifts is crazy. And I bet you it's because of like the gift mode. I bet you that's like the keyword that it's searching to find products. And so I think that is going to change the platform a little bit, is like making sure that your products have like gift SEO in the title and in the tags. Are you eating my hair? Oh my gosh, I'm on a video right now.
Yeah, I did a video, I think, I can't remember when, man. Time just bleeds together. It's going too quickly. But I like sometimes it's fun to just like go off of the Etsy homepage, like in incognito or whatever, and look at what they're positioning there. And like, when you click it, it usually just applies a bunch of filters in the URL and just see like what they're filtering for, and make sure you're checking those boxes and give yourself a chance to show up, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people don't use the gift modes. I think there's still, the way that most people shop on Etsy, at least in my like personal experience and what kind of I've seen, is people use something like the gift mode to kind of see an idea of what they want. They'll start with like birthday gifts, they'll look through it and they're like, oh, this leather belt's really cool. So then they'll go to the search bar and type in like leather belt for dad. And then they'll only look at that. So it's like, I think that's kind of the beginning search that you want to be in. And then you want to have some more really specific keywords that's going to be exactly what the person's kind of looking for in there as well. But definitely just like gifting SEO in general can be just really, really huge, because if you have a gift for someone, like people are willing to spend money on that. That's like what people are coming to buy. And the other thing that's really big is like gifts for like professions, like this month I'm thinking of like all of the like appreciation days, like teacher appreciation day. There's a lot of like nurse appreciation days. And if you're selling products that aren't clothing, so that's where the big benefit is, like mugs and tote bags and things that don't have to be a specific size. People in like my course are getting like 50 sales a day on like at a time, like 50 orders in one order for
Nice.
like their teacher stuff, because like the principal's buying it to give to all their students, So thinking about those different reasons why people are giving gifts can really make a big difference too.
Yeah, that's I had a one-on-one consulting call 2 nights ago, and like the biggest thing I was trying to like convey to the person, I guess when people watch this, it was last week, but it was just like, think of like literally when you're designing and doing SEO, it's like, who is buying this? And like, why are they typing this into the search bar and clicking you and not somebody else? Like, you don't need to win like the whole war of appeasing everybody. It's so hard to do, right? But if you start with just like one target audience person in mind and understand their journey, I feel like that's a nice way of simplifying things, right? And then maybe it expands the scope from there in like who you appeal to.
Yeah, that's actually like reminds me of, I think, one of the biggest lessons that every print on demand seller has to learn. And some of us learn it the easy way, some of us learn it the hard way, some of us never learn and quit forever. And that is that it's not about you and what you like. I think a lot of people come to print on demand and they're like, well, I just want to like be creative. I want to be funny. I want to like make up my own stuff. And they'll make designs for stuff that no one's looking for. And so then no one's searching for it. No one's finding it. Like, it's cute that you made something up that's funny, but if no one's looking for it, you're never even going to get seen on Etsy. Like you have to be designing for things that you know people are searching for. And then when they type that in, it has to be what they want. Like, do you shop on Etsy? Is that where you buy gifts? Is that where you buy clothes? If not, then like you kind of can't trust your own intuition. You have to do the research and really understand what goes into a good design for that type of product. And once you kind of make that mental shift, that even if you don't like it and you would never wear it, it doesn't matter, like that's not what it's about. And I think that can be really, really hard for people.
Yeah, I just thought of why you're saying that like you were talking about the importance of design trends on Etsy. And I mean, anybody who's keeping their finger on the pulse, like it's usually pretty discernible that like some kind of design styles emerge and almost become like the trend of the year or the month, whatever, the summer. But like, I just thought of it as, what if just the fact that like these POD sellers that are sharp to catch on to these trends too, catch on quickly. And then all of a sudden, like some search terms, you type it into the search bar and the uninformed consumer that maybe didn't even know that like, the wavy text, the bubbly wavy text was a thing. They only see wavy text in the search results, right? Because everybody's doing it because it's working. And then all of a sudden somebody who didn't even know it existed is like buying it and like reinforcing that as the trend,
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I don't know the lifestyle, like the life cycle of these trends, but I think some of it, I actually watch some like fashion YouTube channels. Like I'll watch channels where people like try on clothes and like give you fashion advice. There's this one channel, I think her name's Shay Whitney. She has like millions of subscribers. And last year, she actually made a video where she was talking about like preppy chic is what's really in right now. And preppy chic, the exact example she showed was kind of like the varsity collegiate font, almost like what I'm wearing, but maybe a little bit cuter. And she's like, that's so popular. And I'm like, no wonder it's selling so well. Like there are these like fashion icon people online telling people that this is what you should be buying now. And so I think that has helped me some too. It's like even being on like TikTok, so I think just making sure that anytime you're watching anything, it's through the lens of what does this mean for my business? You can get inspiration from the world around you. Like every vacation I go on, I make a list of every funny shirt that I saw.
You still do that?
I still do that. Yeah. And now I share that with like the people in my course a lot of the time instead of like using for myself and stuff because it's a good learning lesson, My favorite was we went to a water park and this guy had on a shirt that said I pee in pools.
Of course. Classic. I went on my first cruise last December, and like, if you've ever been on a cruise, man, people love their graphic t-shirts. They like go and clearly buy them for cruises.
Oh yeah. Super specific too, like the exact place they're going. Like that's a great one for personalization. Like obviously with Hello Custom coming out, if you guys haven't heard of it, it's a personalization automation software. I feel like a lot of people really stayed away from personalization before, but now with this software, and I'm sure Ryan can put a link to it down in the description, it's making it so much easier. So you don't have to go in and type in the personalized name or date of the cruise or whatever, but you can offer that now and Hello Custom will do it for you. And that can make you so much money, like especially if you can find a niche that doesn't have personalization yet. And they're like, oh, this one's really cool, but this one I can add my name. This one I can add my wedding date. Like that just really levels up your design, even if it's like the simplest design you've ever seen. Like, I saw a sweatshirt this week that says Mama established whatever year and has the kids' names on the sleeves. And I know that's like a really popular design, right? Like we've seen some listings completely take off and kill it. But this design was only listed 1 month ago, brand new, not a new concept. And it sold 86 times that day.
That day. Whoa.
That day. Because Etsy tells you now at the top, which if you're not paying attention to what Etsy says has sold that much in that day, that is like the number one thing that I'm looking for like my 31-day listing challenge is I go hunt and find them for you and find these niches that tons of designs have sold 20 times, 50 times, 80 times today. That's the stuff you want to be posting if you're not getting the sales you want, because people are like actively searching for it and buying it literally right now. So if you can get up a design as fast as possible, you've got a chance at really making some money.
No, I love that Etsy's doing that like more and more, because it's kind of like their version of Amazon's BSR
Yeah.
that Amazon constantly updates throughout the day and shows you on a relative basis like how well products are selling relative to other products in that category. And man, like if you're an Amazon seller, like that data point alone can it could like crush our businesses if they just like started hiding it. You know what I mean? Because so many decisions are informed by that. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
Um,
hopefully, if any of the research tools that are out there watching this right now, if you can build a filter in a research tool that can tell us which ones sold today, ooh, that would
be
be
good.
absolutely huge.
Yeah, yeah. The amount of bots that just the number of bots that just scan Etsy and Amazon every day is so insane. I wanted to ask, like, what was the question going to be? Oh, I was going to say actually too, with Hello Custom, shout out to our friend Steven. If you made that listing without Hello Custom and it sold 80 times in a day, you're going to be wishing that you just used Hello Custom to create the listing. I mean, it's definitely, there's a lot of benefits to using that software because you can do one-click approvals and yeah, save yourself a lot of time.
It's a huge difference. Like I hired an employee to help me with my personalized listings before Hello Custom. And she was having to work like 4 hours a day during the busy season because we were getting like 50 to 75 personalized orders every single day. And that took her hours and hours and hours that I had to pay someone to do. Whereas Hello Custom is like, I think 30 cents each
Yeah.
one. Like that cost me way less than paying an employee or spending like 4 hours of my own time during November and December when I could be listing new stuff for sale instead. Like that's the thing people don't get about Christmas, I feel like, is they're like, okay, in August and September and October, I'm going to list a bunch of stuff for sale and see what happens. But the real magic is listing every day up until like the very end. Like there's some times where I've listed a product for sale like on Black Friday, like that day, and gotten 30 sales that weekend because I just saw like a new trend. There was like one listing in a specific niche that had 20 plus in the cart, wasn't even a bestseller yet. And I'm like, okay, this is popping off. I'm going to make a different version, like a different saying, but something like for that same niche. And it just pops off. So it's like you have to kind of be thinking that this is like a fluid thing that you have to be like looking into every single day. And you can have an absolutely massive last quarter of the year, but that applies to any time of the year too.
Yeah, I mean, it gets addicting too whenever you hit your first like big trend. I remember my first trend in 2018 that made me really take Etsy seriously. Like I was on it, but I wasn't super serious. And then that happened. Like I hit a trend super early, and I don't prioritize chasing trends as much anymore as I used to, but it was like converting so well because I was truly the first person on Etsy. It was kind of like a real-time thing. It took like a day or two after I listed it to really catch on. But like they were pushing my product in Google Ads like for free. You know what I mean? They weren't passing that charge on to me. So I mean, I've seen what like their algorithm will do.
I actually think back to, I linked to it in one of my YouTube videos recently that you made a video, I think in 2020. Yeah, it had to have been 2020, obviously. And you were like, okay, the debates today. Make your design templates, get them ready. And anytime someone says something like funny or crazy or whatever, make a shirt and list it right this very second. And that was the best advice I've ever gotten from any YouTube video I've ever watched because I did that. And sure, they don't sell for very long, but if you're sitting there and like needing some sales, like you might as well watch the debate and post something. Because a couple times I posted something, got like 30 sales within the next 24 hours, and then it died forever. But that was cool. That was really cool. So, saying that, obviously we need to talk about the other side of the coin. You can't just ride trends, right? You have to build up your base of like evergreen content, which just means something that could sell anytime throughout the year. And that was a lesson I learned the hard way. I built my business in 2020. And I started in like May until December and did really, really well. Started making, more than I did at my full-time job for the last like 4 or 5 months of the year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I might be able to quit sometime soon. And then January, I made nothing. Because I hadn't prepared. And so 2021 was a lot of learning lessons. And so I had to really build up that evergreen side. So I'd say like, you want to keep it like 50-50 because then, from that now on, I've had a much more like consistent income, which is way better for your mental health and obviously security if you want to be able to like quit your job and do this full time at some point.
Yeah, and like you said earlier too, like it could open up new doors too. Like whether it's starting a YouTube channel. I interviewed somebody recently too who like will handpick some of the most successful students in their course and basically offer them a coaching position. You know what I mean? And like, you just never know. You can monetize the experience for sure in different ways. I want to ask you like one last question, because you were talking about the varsity letters, and it reminded me of this friend of the channel, although I never got them on for an interview, from the Kennedy Claire Couture shop on Etsy. They're like real big, and I know they do a lot of the varsity, but they do like I think it's called like Chanel patches.
Oh
Nothing I've
my
ever
gosh,
tried to
yeah,
do.
those are huge. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and they crush it, right? And I kind of know a little bit about their operation. It's definitely they fulfill themselves and stuff. But how do you like? That's kind of what made me want to ask you this. Any advice you can give, because we're leveraging, like use Printify a lot for fulfillment. Obviously, someone else that's doing doing fulfillment themselves has a little bit of a pricing advantage at a minimum. So, any advice on how we can compete? Because we're going to be next to each other in Etsy search results. So, what can we do to maybe stand out, give ourselves a leg up?
Absolutely. So I would not do the exact same style, right? That's kind of the whole cool thing is, over the years, I've kind of recognized there's about 10 best selling like layouts, color palettes, like styles that like I'm going to put into any niche that I find. And so I'll go see what the best sellers are doing and see which one of my best selling design styles is missing. That way I can try and stand out. So, if you want to get into like the collegiate design style, you'd want to find a niche that doesn't have it yet, because we know it sells. We know people really like it. It's familiar, right? Like people have seen this style. I'd say this is probably one of like the most classic t-shirt styles. And so if you can find a niche that doesn't have something that looks like that, or maybe you do a different word than someone else has across the chest, and then you can really stand out in those search results. So trying to add value in a way that's already proven, I think, is really important, because you don't want to have to compete on like price, right? If you're the only one that has something that looks like that in the search results, even if you were $5-10 more and they liked you more, they're going to be willing to pay for it.
And it's funny because I like completely agree. I just do it through more of like an Amazon lens where, yeah, like I'll take the design styles that I know are winners and I'll just scale them out into niches that like nobody's doing. But it's like I know the design style works. I know if the reach of Amazon itself, and Google indexes them too, is big enough, somebody will see this one day. And hopefully I'm the only person selling it. I know the design style is a winner. And I just need that sale. I aim for like one sale,
No, and honestly, that works on Etsy too. It's a little bit different, but there's been plenty of times people have asked me like, "Hey, I like this design style, but can you have it say this?" And it's like some random profession I've never heard of, and so I'll make the design and list it in my store. That way, they buy it, and the listing gets its first sale. And I've had a lot of those listings, not like take off, but get like 20 or 30 sales over a year or two. And once you get like a decent amount of those to add up, honestly, that could be like 30% of your income is like hundreds of random listings that just sell sometimes. Like all of your listings are never going to be your like banger listings that make you all your money, so you can't just have like 100 and like get lucky and have a couple bangers that pay all the bills, right? Like I think with any print on demand, it's kind of more of a numbers game. And so I think that's really smart. I don't think that's a bad strategy for Etsy either. Like it's only 20 cents for a listing. And if you get one sale on it a year, like it all adds up.
Yeah, and I feel like a broken record. I've been doing YouTube so long. It's like, I've for sure said this before, but what you just said, where somebody asks you for a customization, and if it seems like maybe it makes sense to, don't just do it behind the scenes, but list it and see what comes of it. Because I've for sure had the same thing happen. So definitely good advice there.
Yeah, learn from those lessons. These are all things we learned the hard way, and you get to learn the easy way because you guys have us now.
For sure. And guys, make sure you check out Cassiy's channel. Of course, most of you guys are probably subscribed. If not, I'll definitely drop a link to that right underneath the link to the 31-day challenge. I'll drop a link to Hello Custom. Cassiy, thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time. Congrats on the success, and keep killing it.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much for having me, Ryan. Again, I probably wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for all your videos. So I could not be more appreciative, and I always love connecting. So thanks everybody for watching.